Hunting bears in the mountains never gets easier with time. It doesn't matter how much time you've spent chasing bears. That curve is never really lessened. The bears never hang out lower on the mountain. There's never more big ones. And they're always hard to find as a solitary animal in these vast forests. They prefer to be solitary. The reason hunting the mountains early on can be so good is because they've just come out of the den, and the only place there's available food is where there's no snow. And where there's no snow is typically where the sun hits, where there's no trees, forcing those bears into the meadows. That can be some of the best bear hunting a spot and stock hunter can have. You know, if you're successful, you've earned it, and that's what brings me back. This year, the weather had a dramatic effect on our bear hunting opportunities here in the state. Our snow levels left the mountains far earlier than they usually do, opening up the entire mountain for bears to feed in. That made it tough to pinpoint bears. Well, it's a beautiful evening here finally this spring in Montana. It's been so slow to kind of green up and feel like spring and get some warmth in the air. Finally now you can sort of feel it in the sun. It's May 11th, and I feel like we're getting quite a bit later start than most years. I mean, last year I saw my first bear on March 4th, and to this point I've seen 7 bears, but mostly sows and cubs. And as you can see around me, I mean, this is about as green as it gets right now. Everything else is just brown and still a lot of snow. But like I said, May 11th, the bears have to be starting to pop at this point in time. So the focus right now is to just kind of hunt along these edges of snow. As the snow kind of works its way up the mountain, we try to follow that, get that freshest amount of green the bears like to feed on. Right now, it's just kind of one of our first times over here in one of my favorite spots this year, just trying to get a feel for where things are at, and I can tell it's still not quite there yet. But it feels good to be out, have a bear tag in the pocket. Kind of hoping for a blonde one this year. The beautiful part about where we hunt here is you never know what color black bear's gonna pop out. We have black bears, chocolate, cinnamon, blondes, kind of every phase in between. So we're just gonna dig in here and see what happens. It's gonna be tough coming off of last year's hunt, getting that bear I've chased for several years, but be excited to try, see what we can find here, so we'll see what happens. I was excited to be here, to submerge myself in what was going on and try to find the biggest bear I could. Having the cabin to go home to every night was icing on the cake.
Contract paying for cement to be dead, paid me silver to fix it with lead. Thoughts are circling overhead, There's none but the mind, their song. Covered in blood and I only see red. Living too fast, it won't last long. Ever on the run, never look back, son. Led by the gun and you're gonna die young.
Now, I've spent a lot of time here through the years, stoking the fire and sitting here in thought. My mom's only bear that she's ever harvested hangs on the wall here, and I look at it and think about it quite often. She didn't really take to hunting after that, but it is ironic that her one and only kill hangs right here where I hunt bears most every year. And there's a magical feeling about being in the woods that time of year. There's kind of this break in activity, a small window of time there where there's not a lot of people in the forest. Some of my favorite weeks of the entire year are spent here, looking for black bears and walking the same trails I've walked since I could first start hunting. I learned to bear hunt here.
Bears have got to be feeding. Just sun's getting high enough now that it's getting to be pretty harsh light back in the shadows, so trying to really spot those open spots, green spots.
Sometimes the best thing a bear hunter can do is just sit in one spot and not move at all. So that's what I decided to do. No matter how long it took me to find the right bear, I didn't want to move.
His way over there. Finally found another bear. It's 10 after 5. But this bear is even further than the one we saw yesterday. Looks like a good bear though. I just don't know how we'd get on it. But good to see. Hopefully we get something popping out here closer. Let this thunder and rain pass.
Now, it can be hard to stay focused, especially when you're just not seeing the activity you're used to in an area you've hunted for years. But I knew the potential it had, and I knew it had everything that it needed to hold bears in the area. Hopefully he pops out. Well, we finally had a bear show up here in this spot we call the honey hole. It's exactly where we've been wanting one to pop out. Just trying to get a size on it here. It's just like a cinnamon color. Pretty bear. Would be nice if it would pop out. Where the pavement ends, on X begins. He's just kind of stopped feeding there for a second. He was feeding in one spot really good and then just up and really started covering the ground, which is a little more typical. I can just barely see him. Well, I mean, we should work over there and see if we can find him. He seems to be just kind of holding down and left, which is good. Real pretty bear. Kind of blonde in the back, darker legs. So hopefully we get a crack at him here. Yeah, it's just going. You can fool a lot of things with a bear, and their nose is not one of them. In these circumstances, you know, if you have a bad wind going to your whitetail stand, you can approach it differently, or even a lot of elk setups. But in these mountains, to come in a different direction, you have to come in around the backside of a mountain. It just doesn't work. I knew the second I saw this bear that I was going to go after it. Not only the color, but the size, and I knew exactly how to hunt this drainage.
Is it? I'm in Goose Country, so I really gotta watch myself. 10-7. Yes. I'm gonna get my backpack on. Get everything gathered up and get up there. See this bear. Oh, he looks like a dandy. Oh, it paid off. I was starting to really get discouraged. Oh, I cannot believe it. I just walked up on him here. And I'm in the type of country where grizzlies run to gunshots. Oh man, what a beautiful bear. Let's go look at this thing. What an unbelievable end to the season, hunting by myself here. It just couldn't have worked out more perfect. I saw this bear as soon as I got here. He was just lit up in the sunlight, this beautiful hide, and I knew it was my time to go. This wind was swirling, so I didn't want to take any chances. 136 yards. Was able to take this bear. I need to get to work on him. There is a lot of other bears around, and I am by myself and have a ways to get out, so...
Although I was bummed that my hunting partner couldn't be there with me, who had been there alongside of me all season, it did feel right to be there alone. Hunting is a very individual sport that somehow we try to portray through TV, and that can be hard.
Oh my goodness, what a season. This has been a hard season. I so wish Ryan was here.
There's nothing more rewarding than working hard until the end, and setting your goals on something and having it come together. It doesn't happen this way every year. I've went home a lot of years without a bear in my backpack. But when it happens, it makes it feel that much sweeter. Like I said in the beginning, hunting mountain bears never comes easy. If you're successful in the end, you know you've worked for it. And that's why I'll be back here again next year, hunting these same trails.
Thoughts are circling overhead. There's a number to mind their song. Covered in blood and I only see red. Living too fast, it won't last long. Ever on the run, never look back, son. Led by the gun and you're gonna die young. Time wasted on a cold dark day. Smelled their fear from a mile away.